Merry Christmas to all my viewers. I know for a fact that most of you have been good boys and girls, so I'm giving you all the Mortal Kombat 1 DLC for free. I'm just kidding. Sadly, I don't have that kind of power. However, I will be condemning one individual to the naughty list. Let's call him Feet, which I believe stands for Fight Every Enemy Tenaciously. And Feet is a very naughty boy indeed, going after any YouTuber who speaks favorably about Mortal Kombat 1. For you see, he considers them shills, especially if the developers treat them favorably. In his mind, this gives Feet free reign to belittle them and mock them on his streams however he sees fit, from baseless allegations to straight up misinformation about the games as well, just so he can complain about it. Nobody is safe. And that's because Feet is a die-hard fan of the series himself, posting Mortal Kombat 1 videos almost every day, which is something I do as well. And despite my many open criticisms of Mortal Kombat 1, Feet decided to make a video on me anyway. So in the spirit of Christmas, I wanted to help Feet see the light and aid him in reflecting on the error of his ways. And to prove this video is not mean-spirited, I wanted to extend an olive branch. I too believe that release check should be off by default in Mortal Kombat 1, mainly because most players turn it off anyway. In fact, if any of you watching have not turned off release check, go ahead and pause the video, go in Mortal Kombat 1 and change your controller settings. In my honest opinion, this setting should also belong on the naughty list. Turn it off first chance you get. It was intended to help beginners out, but for the most part it just gets in the way and often gives you the wrong input. Now funny enough, Feet himself did not know what release check was. He did not know it was a setting in the game that you could turn off. Instead, he just complained about getting the wrong inputs, which is definitely a skill issue, but also I do agree that this setting should be off by default because most players want it off anyway. So despite his ignorance, Feet was ironically correct about release check. As they say, even a broke clock is right twice a day. As mentioned earlier, Feet loves to roast Mortal Kombat YouTubers. He even made a dedicated video about me, and I honestly do love the thumbnail. It got a good laugh out of me. According to Feet, I'm a NetherRealm shill because I said that Mortal Kombat 1 is a better fighting game than Street Fighter 6. Apparently, the only way anybody could hold an opinion like that is if they are paid off by NetherRealm. But here's the thing, Feet. I'm actually partnered with pretty much every major fighting game developer. There's a reason I have this statue months before anybody else. And there's a reason why Namco Bandai flew me out to play Tekken 8 months early and then make videos about their product. And in fact, did you know I'm also a Capcom partner as well? That's right, pretty much every major fighting game developer you can think of has given me some special treatment. Or in other words, if you think I speak favorably about Mortal Kombat 1 simply because NetherRealm gives me special treatment, well, you're wrong, because they all give me special treatment because I love fighting games and my channel gets tons of views about fighting games. When Tekken 8 comes out in January, I'm likely going to make a ton of videos about it, and if I'm having a good time, that's just because I really do enjoy the game. I'm not being paid to talk nicely about it. I simply love fighting games, and I've been making videos about them for over a decade now on this channel. So if you disagree with my opinion that Mortal Kombat 1 is a better fighting game than Street Fighter 6, that's completely okay, but there's no need to hurl out baseless insults. You can't say somebody is shilling a fighting game when they get special treatment from every major fighting game developer. I love all of these developers equally, but Mortal Kombat 1 just gives me the most satisfaction. Street Fighter 6 is a fantastic game too, but there's just not enough content to keep me coming back. I learned all the characters, finished the one offline mode, and then moved on. There simply isn't enough content to keep me coming back. And that's why I think that Mortal Kombat 1 is simply better. It's got more characters, there's more game modes, there's stuff to unlock for playing online and offline modes, and when I do inevitably get bored of playing the characters, I can mix the cameos around and it's like the honeymoon phase all over again. And to make things even better, every month we get a new DLC character, we get more palettes for the characters, and even new costumes completely for free. Although both games charge way too much for certain DLC costumes, but at least for Mortal Kombat 1, every month you also get new costumes and palettes for free, and I just find that really amazing. But one final time, I will say that both Street Fighter 6 and Mortal Kombat 1 are fantastic games, and it's okay to favor one more than the other on a personal level. But enough about me, let's go back to Feet. As mentioned earlier, this man will make baseless accusations about people simply because they speak favorably about a game that he personally dislikes. A great example is Ketchup Mustard, and I wanted to mention this part early on in the video because I just can't stand the thought process here. According to Feet, these two individuals were actively hiding the fact that Mortal Kombat 1 did not have crossplay. And he makes this assumption because Ketchup and Mustard had 5 days or so to beta test the game. And that's it. That's all the evidence he has. Nowhere on the record is there proof that they were testing online features or were told about the online features, nothing like that. They were simply at the studio playing the game early, and therefore, the fact that these two creators said nothing about the game lacking crossplay means they are guilty until proven innocent, and I hate that method of thinking. You can't make a claim about somebody and then say they're guilty until they prove otherwise. You either have exact evidence or you don't. Unless Feet can prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that these two were actively hiding something from the audience on behalf of NetherRealm, then they did not do it. And honestly, the craziest part is going after Ketchup and Mustard at all, because these two are some of the nicest and most genuine people you will ever interact with. But guess what? They like Mortal Kombat 1 and speak positively about it, and therefore they're the enemy, according to Feet, which again is just ridiculous. And I don't even think it's a character like 6 Erican. I feel like Feet actually does feel this way. He calls me a Mortal Kombat shill because NetherRealm flies me places, but guess what? So does Capcom and Namco Bandai. He claims that Ketchup and Mustard intentionally hid lacking features in the game from the public because NetherRealm told them to, without any direct evidence whatsoever. And if all that wasn't bad enough, he's not even good enough at the games to actually criticize them. And even when he tries to do data and research to back up his points, he fails hilariously. For example, Feet recently made a video about Uplock, a new defense mechanic in Mortal Kombat 1, and he claimed it was useless. He tried his best to document why by making a boomer spreadsheet. I'm sorry, I still find this funny. He made a spreadsheet in like Microsoft Paint. And to make things funnier, this spreadsheet had a ton of mistakes and was just straight up wrong. Like, look at Katana. He says Katana has 0 overheads. So unfortunately, it looks like Feet can't even take notes properly. But listen, even I myself admit that Uplock is not a crazy useful attack all the time, but even so, Foxy Grandpa did a fantastic job explaining the many ways it can be useful at all levels of play, from casual player to pro player. And now finally, to end this video, let's talk about damage, because when Feet made this next statement, I nearly fell out of my chair, and I wish I was exaggerated, but I was so dumbfounded. I could not believe he made this claim. You see, Feet is upset about the high levels of damage in Mortal Kombat 1. You make 2 mistakes and your character is dead, which can be true in some cases, but most of the time it takes 3 combos to kill the opponent, which is no different than Mortal Kombat 11, Mortal Kombat X, or MK9, where the damage was the craziest. That game had touch of death combos, and even the weaker characters could still get 40% meterless. It was wild. If you want that kind of damage in Mortal Kombat 1, for most characters it requires 1 bar and at least 1 cameo summon, otherwise you're never cracking 40%. So once again, when Feet complains about Mortal Kombat 1's damage being too high, he's very misinformed. But here comes the funniest part. For one of his counter examples brought up in the debate between him and Foxy Grandpa, Feet mentioned Tekken 7. Oh my gosh, I nearly fell out of my chair. I'm not a great Tekken player, but I am a good Tekken player. And I can tell you right now, from first-hand experience, any regular punish in that game is doing at least 40% damage, and that's if you don't have the wall nearby. In that situation, you'll get even more damage and a guaranteed mix-up as the opponent's getting up, some of which are almost impossible to avoid. And keep in mind, the Tekken does not have meter, except for like 2 characters, alright? Which means when you get hit, all this damage is guaranteed. Your opponent does not need any resources, and if they're low on health, they enter rage mode, which means these combos do even more damage just for free. So if you make 1 mistake in Tekken and your opponent has rage and the wall is nearby, Santa Claus help you, because you're gonna lose a good 70% of your health, if not more. In fact, some characters in Tekken have touch of death combos. So the sheer fact that Feet brought up Tekken 7 as an example of fair damage almost had me falling out of my chair. That game is by far the most punishing when you make a mistake. I mean, unless we're talking anime fighters like Dragon Ball FighterZ or Marvel 3, but then again, those games require meter that has to be built up over time. Tekken 7 doesn't have that limitation. Oh, and then he brought up Street Fighter 6, which was equally hilarious, because not only can any character in that game also get 40% for a single punish, but get this, you start off with full meter in Street Fighter 6, which means at the very start of the first round, if the opponent makes a mistake, you can easily punish them for way more than 40%. And then in round 3, if you saved up that level 3 critical art, every character in the game gets over 60% damage, and some have a near touch of death combo. So once again, Feet is simply wrong. When it comes to damage, ironically enough, Mortal Kombat 1 might be one of the most fair fighting games in the modern day. I mean, for Pete's sake, even Mortal Kombat 2 had infinite combos, touch of death combos if you will, and Mortal Kombat 1 had glitches and exploits that also killed the opponent in a single combo. And don't even get me started on Mortal Kombat 3. Yeah, there was finally a stamina meter for the run, but it didn't matter. The characters still got touch of death combos. So if you're gonna try to claim that Mortal Kombat games have gotten worse because the damage has gotten more unfair, you're simply incorrect. Like, as incorrect as somebody can be. Please, Feet, learn to make a spreadsheet. Use Microsoft Excel and not Microsoft Paint, please. Learn to take notes properly. I really do appreciate that you're trying to back up your points with evidence, but you gotta be better at actually finding the evidence. And obviously, you're free to make videos on whoever you want to, but please stop with the baseless accusations. If you don't have any evidence, then it's simply not true. Nobody is guilty until proven innocent. And if you think otherwise, then, well, you're the problem. Unfortunately, I do have to put you on the naughty list this year, but there's no reason you can't do better in the future, and hopefully by next Christmas, you're on the nice list. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I hope you enjoyed. Yes, this video was a response, but it's by no means a mean-spirited video. Do not go after this person in the comment section. Don't be mean to them or make fun of them. We all make mistakes at the end of the day, and everybody has the potential to change. So one last time, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, come back next time, and as always, stay underdogs.